Hey guys, this is Dr. Samir Islam. I want to thank you for joining me tonight. So tonight we're going to be discussing some breaking news about the changes in colon cancer screening guidelines. And this is news that came out about a week ago from the American Cancer Society recommending a change on when we need to screen for colon cancer. So going back to the old guidelines, keep in mind that colon cancer in general is the second leading cause of cancer death in the United States. And the rates have been decreasing in older individuals with the more prevalent advent of colonoscopy. With the colonoscopy, we're able to find precancerous polyps, and that's been shown to decrease the risk of dying from colon cancer. And so we know for a fact that colon cancer does save lives. And the screening age for the longest time started at the age of 50 years old. But as of last week, the American Cancer Society had breaking news in which they recommended changing the screening interval or the screening guidelines to 45 years of age, which is a huge change in the typical rate for screening for patients who were looking for colon cancer. And this has caused a huge change both in the guidelines, the way we deal with patients, and whether insurance will cover this particular new change or not. And it's had a tremendous amount of impact both in the GI world and for a lot of patients who come see me now. I have a lot of people who are asking me, hey, I am 45 years old, I have no symptoms, but I heard about the new news about changing the colon cancer screening guidelines to 5 years earlier than 5 years later, which is typically at the age of 50 years old. And the reason these guidelines came about because we do know for a fact that colon cancer is being found in younger individuals. And we know that more and more patients less than 50 years old are being diagnosed with colon cancer. And those patients who are at that age have a higher risk of having these lesions than somebody at that same age born in the 1950s. And the patients who have had colon cancer younger than 50 have a more of an aggressive disease, and they seem to be dying at an earlier stage, or at least presenting with a later stage diagnosis of colon cancer. And so the question is why? No one really knows why that's the case. There are some theories that there could be a change in the diet that's occurring that's making this cancer becoming more frequent and more prevalent, or maybe it's a whole different cancer that's being diagnosed and we're not quite clear if this is a different cancer than those patients who have colon cancer greater than the age of 50 years old. And so because of this, the American Cancer Society did recommend changing the screening age to 45 years of age. Now keep in mind, screening are those patients who have no symptoms and no family history. So even if you're feeling well, if you're of the age of 45, the American Cancer Society recommends getting a colonoscopy to screen for colon cancer if you have no symptoms to prevent this disease from possibly occurring within your body. So because of this, there's a lot of questions people have asked me about whether we need to get this done or what. And so and right now, we don't have a lot of answers to these questions. Because of the changes that occurred very recently, there's going to be a lot of lag time behind this in terms of the logistics of getting this implemented. So the first question I would ask you guys about the concern about this is make sure you contact your insurance company to see if they will cover the screening colonoscopy at the age of 45 years of age. Since this change is so new, I don't anticipate any of the insurance companies changing immediately, but I do think that as these guidelines become more and more in place, more and more insurance plans are going to change their screening guidelines from 50 years old to 45. So I'd encourage you to contact your insurance company and say, hey, I heard this news that the screening guidelines change. Will you cover a screening colonoscopy at the age of 45 or not? Number two is that people ask me, should I go ahead and get screened at the age of 45? And my answer is yes. I have seen in my own practice younger and younger patients being diagnosed with colon polyps and colon cancer. And so if you are of age of 45 years old, I would recommend for you to get screened with the colonoscopy to make sure we don't miss any precancerous lesions that are there. Now, a lot of people ask me, what should I watch out for? And this is a difficult problem because colon cancer is one of those diseases in which it doesn't cause symptoms until it's too late. And so this is why we recommend for anybody who does not have any symptoms to go ahead and proceed with a colonoscopy at the age of 45. But some of the things we want to keep an eye out for are symptoms, including things like rectal bleeding. So don't ever ignore rectal bleeding. Don't ever just assume it's just a hemorrhoid and that's basically it. The most common symptom from colon cancer younger than 50 is bleeding from the rectum, which people assume is just a hemorrhoid. So if you're having rectal bleeding, make sure you speak to your healthcare provider about whether further evaluation needs to be done. Also, if you have significant weight loss, this is not typical for somebody who has just normal course of their GI tract. This, combined with rectal bleeding, can also be a problem as well. Significant diarrhea is also a very common symptom from colon cancer. So if you have significant diarrhea, in which we don't know the clear cause for that, make sure you speak to your healthcare provider about whether you need to be screened for colon cancer. Abdominal pain that's unrelenting can be a sign of something going on within your GI tract as well. So keep in mind, in summary, the guidelines have changed from the American Cancer Society, and I would anticipate all the other societies in the nation, including the Societies for Internal Medicine and the GI societies, will follow suit. And the most important thing is to make sure you ask your insurance carrier about whether they will screen for a colonoscopy at the age of 45 years. I personally am recommending this now as of the new guidelines, and I think it's important for us to be on top of this disease because even though colon cancer is the second leading cause of cancer death in the United States, it is the most preventable cancer that's out there. And the best way for us to find this, prevent it, and from treating it is for us to undergo colonoscopy.